Wasabi guys, welcome back to another Market Watch video, talking about mostly cards and how they're affected by the Commander format. Because of newer additions, newer set releases, of course with Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, we see a lot of that, not every card of course. Sometimes we have the reserve list, and this card, Breathstealer's Crypt, is a good example of the wave 2 of the reserve list spikes. Of course, everybody remembers a year ago, pretty much around the same time last year in 2021, where suddenly every card on the reserve list, it didn't really matter what it was, just started going up, which is kind of against what I think most people would expect. You know, dealing with a global pandemic and most people probably struggling to find the funding for a hobby, you would almost expect the exact opposite, but no, this shot up to around a $15 card, which I like to brag when things like this happen, but I remember back around 2019 recommending this card along with a lot of other reserve list cards that were pretty cheap at the time. And when I recommended it, it was, as you can see, around a $5 card, and then 2020 it shot up above 10, and then 2021 shot up above 15. And what we're seeing right now is the next wave up to probably above 20. This is becoming rather predictable, but the card itself is pretty solid. If you're a fan of Nekusar strategies, you know it's pretty powerful if you can force your opponents to draw and discard, because you have cards like these. Each time any player draws a card, it does include you, so it is symmetrical, but the player reveals the card. If it's a creature card, they pay 3 life or they discard it. This triggers for each card that is drawn, period. So they're at the very least going to have to reveal it, you have to reveal yours, and you have to lose a life or discard the creatures that you draw into. And even if 2022 is not a Nekusar type of year, it's a reserve list card from Visions, and Visions seems to be doing a lot better. We have crazy premium value out of Arabian Nights and Legends. Visions around the mid-90s, late 90s, you're going to see some value out of these sets. And for a long time, these sets, like Visions, they might have had some good cards, like of course the big one is Vampiric Tutor, but there wasn't really the same type of impact out of reserve list rares from Visions compared to reserve list rares from Legends, Arabian Nights, even the Dark. So it is nice to see that we are getting some serious value now. I've been collecting this card and other reserve list cards that I think are good in Commander for a long time. I'm not someone who collects a ton of cards and loads up on them because I think they're going to go up. I go after cards I really like because of what they are, because of what they do. I know a lot of people feel funny about that, that's just the way I am. Going away from the reserve list, we have Atraxa the Blazing Sky. Now, don't be fooled by this chart. This is pretty common whenever you look at mythic rares, rares in general, anything that could be perceived as a chase rare. It's going to start out around 50, it's going to start out around 30, 40, and then come crashing down because that's just how it always is. But recently, it found a bottom at around $6, and it is slowly creeping back up to 7 or 9. What it does is a lot more powerful in Standard, although I could totally see it having an impact in Commander. If you love the treasure token strategy, it seems like we just keep getting support for that. And with the first mode, we have Prosper Tomebound, so everyone loves playing from exile. I still think though, we are talking about red, and these dragon spirits that have great death triggers, they're a lot stronger in aristocrat strategies. Red just isn't really as strong with aristocrat strategies. So I would say if you can get $10, $15 for your Atraxa the Blazing Sky, go for it. I don't really see it long-term holding that value. Next up, we have Chainer Dementia Master. The only printing of this card is from Torment, which is kind of a surprise for me because this is a pretty solid card for Commander. Totally one that I think it's not reserve list. Torment's not a reserve list set. Should have been reprinted, especially when we had the Anji Falconwrath deck that came with the new Chainer. But it's good though, if you've been collecting Chainer for a long time, you finally have a payoff here. I remember getting mine for pretty much pennies. Only a couple dollars, that's a steal. And without a reprint, you know it was going to go up, so it's above a $10 card. It's one of those cards that it could easily be reprinted, so if you get money for it, if you can get at least $10 to $15 for cards like these guys, don't push your luck. Don't wait for them to come crashing down when they get a reprint, because this is the type of card that could easily go back down to $3 like it's nothing. And next up, we have something that is a much safer investment because it's been tested. Atraxa Praetor's Voice. Now this is from Double Masters, but you can pretty much go with any Atraxa. You have value. You have at least $15 right there. It's been reprinted a couple times. It was reprinted in the Commander Anthology. Getting reprinted in a Master set didn't hurt its value, because it's one of the few creatures like this where you get so much for your mana. You get a 4/4 flying vigilance, death touch, lifelink creature that lets you proliferate each one of your end steps. You don't have to put any more mana into this commander and you get so much back for it. And it kind of has the Kalia factor going for it, where it's just such a cool looking card. People just want to play with the Praetor Angel. So it pushing $30 now is pretty sweet. Next up, we have Ink-Eye Servant of Oni, and I think a lot of these cards you're going to notice when people are speculating, when people are assuming something will see a reprint, either because of a new set, because of a new pre-constructed product, if they came out with a ninja deck or they had some product involving ninjas and you didn't see a reprint of one of the best ninjas, yeah, the price of that card that you probably thought would get a reprint is going to shoot up. And that's what we see all the time, and we saw it here with Ink-Eye Servant of Oni. We saw that with a bunch of cards, a bunch of ninjas. Not only is Neon Dynasty super ninja friendly, reintroducing ninjutsu, but we didn't really get any pre-con support for ninjas. So no reprints for any of these popular ninjas. They're just gonna hold their value. And it's another situation where, depending on how popular ninjas are, we could see a reprint for Ink Eyes. It has been reprinted before, but again, it's one of the few really good ninjas. So it being around a $25 to $30 card right now, I would be looking for buyers. And the last card here we have is Tower of the Magistrate. It's another rare from a really old set like Torment, but this time it's Mercadian Masks. It's a bizarre land that isn't really that great, but you can see why people are jumping on it. It taps for 1 colorless mana, but you can also pay 1 mana and tap it to have target creature gain protection from artifacts until end of turn. Let's say you're playing in any format where there's an abundance of artifact creatures. I'm thinking about in Legacy, you could be going up against artifact creature decks. This might be something that you use to get in some easy damage. I think whenever we're around one of these sets again, Kamigawa, Neon Dynasty, all artifacts, anything that provides decent sideboard hate is usually going to get some type of attention. Now this going up around $10, I don't think that's practical. You're going to see around $5 for it. So it's another situation where we have a rare where not a lot of people care about it. It's suddenly getting more attention. People are going to try to play it, they're going to try to sideboard it, and depending on the results, it could either continue to go up or dip back down. So those were some market gainers for the week. Let me know what you think about them in the comment section below, and if you appreciate the videos, please do subscribe to the channel. We are at 31,000 going strong. Want to thank you all so much for helping me get there. Commander Void here signing off. I will see you all next time.